Business Wrap is brought to you by Shri Ultra Red Oxide, भारत का एकमात्र जंग रोधक सीमेंट।
President Pranab Mukherjee spells out Modi government's roadmap for India in his address to the joint session of the Parliament. Economic revival, infrastructure development, addressing security challenges topmost on government's agenda. Government to work for equitable and holistic development of all sections of the economy and society, focus on employment generation and skill development. Government will revive Brand India, will focus on 5 T's, that is tradition, talent, tourism, trade and technology, committed to tackle corruption and a black money issue. And markets zoom on the first day of the week. Sensex gains 184 points to end at 25,580 levels. Nifty ends above 7,600 levels for the first time. Well, hello and welcome to Business Wrap. I'm Sidhant, Sibal, and let's begin with the presidential address. President Pranab Mukherjee today addressed the joint session of the Parliament. In his speech, the President highlighted the priority areas of the government. The President said that the government's primary focus and key area of its work will be towards containing inflation. He said that the current public distribution system will also be reformed. Acknowledging the threat of subnormal monsoon, President said that the government is already ready with a contingency plan. The President also said that the government will work to prevent hoarding and black marketing, which are the basic reasons for the high inflationary pressures.
Containing food inflation will be the topmost priority for my government. There would be an emphasis on improving the supply side of various agro and agro-based products. My government will take effective steps to prevent hoarding and black marketing. It will reform the public distribution system, incorporating best practices from the states.
Well, addressing joint session of the Parliament, President Pranab Mukherjee listed the priorities of Narendra Modi-led NDA government. President Pranab Mukherjee said that his government will revive Brand India with focus on 5 T's, tradition, talent, tourism, trade and technology. The President said that the country is passing through extremely difficult phase on economic front, and putting economy back on the track is the paramount issue for the government.
Containing food inflation will be the topmost priority for my government. There would be an emphasis on improving the supply side of various agro and agro-based products. My government will take effective steps to prevent hoarding and black marketing. It will reform the public distribution system, incorporating best practices from the state.
In an address to both the Houses of Parliament, President Pranab Mukherjee stressed on the growth of economy and the new government's commitment to tackle the current economic situation. President Mukherjee termed the current economic situation is in an extremely difficult phase, and referring to the high food inflation, President said the new government will give topmost priority to contain it. Indian economy has been facing serious tremors. For the 2 consecutive years, the GDP growth has been less than 5%. Tax collection has declined. Inflation continues to be at an unacceptable level. President, stressing on various problems related to the growth of economy, has actually explained the comprehensive picture of the current status of Indian economy and the challenges in front of Prime Minister Narendra Modi to put the country back on growth path. Containing inflation is the topmost priority, and the government is alert about the possibility of a subnormal monsoon this year and is in the process of preparing contingency plan to deal with the situation. Speaking during the occasion, President said that agriculture is a source of livelihood for majority of our people.
In the recent past, our farmers have been under severe strain, with hopelessness driving some of them to suicide. My government is committed to reversing this unfortunate trend. It will increase investment in agriculture, both public and private, especially in agri-infrastructure.
President said government will increase investment in agriculture, both public and private, especially in agri-infrastructure. Steps will be taken to convert farming into a profitable venture through scientific practices and agro-technology. Government will also address issues pertaining to pricing and procurement of agricultural produce, crop insurance and post-harvest management. President said productivity of animal husbandry will be increased. President Pranab Mukherjee also said government is committed to giving high priority to water security. It will complete the long-pending irrigation projects on priority and launch the Pradhan Mantri Krishi Sinchai Yojana with the motto of Har Khet Ko Pani. By harnessing rainwater through Jal Sanchai and Jal Sanchan, President said government will nurture water conservation and groundwater recharge. He also said micro-irrigation will be popularized to ensure per drop, more crop. In his address, President said that creating a policy environment which is predictable, transparent and fair will be another important task on which the government will endeavour. He said government will move ahead with the rollout of goods and services tax while addressing the concerns of the states and undertake more reforms to enhance the ease of doing business. Government will embark on rationalization and simplification of the tax regime to make it non-adversarial and conducive to investment, enterprise and growth. Speaking about the foreign direct investment, he said FDI will be encouraged in sectors which help create jobs and assets. In order to create jobs, he said the government will promote labour-intensive manufacturing and endeavour to expand employment opportunities in tourism and agro-based industries. He also said government will transform employment exchanges into career centres and also strengthen pension and health insurance safety nets for labour force of all categories, in addition to providing them access to modern financial services. President said that there is need to transform ourselves into a globally competitive manufacturing hub powered by skill, scale and speed. To this end, the government will set up world-class investment in industrial regions. The SSI and handicraft sectors will be encouraged by providing them enhanced technological, marketing and investment support. He also said government will set up a task force to review and revive MSME sector and exports will also be encouraged. Overall, President said people want a dynamic and a vibrant nation and India is poised to actualize these aspirations. He said government will rise to the occasion to fulfill these great expectations. Bureau Report, DD News.
Well, news just coming in. Chinese Foreign Minister has just concluded his meeting with Prime Minister Narendra Modi. Foreign Minister Sushma Swaraj was also present during the meeting. Remember, the Chinese Foreign Minister is in the capital for a 2-day visit. Let's go to our correspondent Amrit Pal Singh, who is at 7 RCR. Amrit, if you can hear me, tell me what happened. How long was this meeting between the Chinese Foreign Minister and Prime Minister Narendra Modi?
Well, the meeting lasted about 50 minutes, Sidhant. The two sides clearly discussed how to take the relations forward. If you remember, yesterday there was a 3-hour-long delegation-level meeting between the Indian and the Chinese foreign minister. Now, apart from Wang Yi being the foreign minister, he's a special envoy of President Xi Jinping. So clearly, when he said coming down to India in Beijing, the interview that he gave to the Hindu newspaper, he said that I'm carrying a message, a special message for Prime Minister Narendra Modi from President Xi Jinping. So it's being seen as preparing a blueprint for how to take the relations forward, both at the strategic level and, more importantly, giving a thrust to trade and investment. From the Indian point of view, we'll obviously want more Chinese investment, especially in infrastructure areas, especially like railways, and try to get the trade deficit right. The balance of trade is hugely tilted in their favor. Out of about $60 billion trade, there is a trade deficit of about $31 billion in favor of China. So we would want to correct that and see that our companies get to invest there, get more market access there, especially in areas like pharma and IT. So these were the issues around which the discussions, centered, and also Prime Minister Narendra Modi shall be meeting President Xi Jinping on the sidelines of BRICS meeting next month in Brazil. So how to take it was talked about how to take do preparations and the groundwork for that meeting.
Well, Amrit, this is the first time that a high-level meeting taking place between Indian and Chinese counterparts, especially after the elections in India. Where do you think the direction of Sino-Indo relationship will go from here on?
Oh, clearly, yes, this is the first structured political dialogue at a political level that's taken place. I mean, though Mr. Narendra Modi and External Affairs Minister Sushma Swaraj held meetings with the visiting heads of the SAARC countries who had come down for the inauguration of Prime Minister and his cabinet, but this is the first structured meeting at a high level, at a political level that's taking place. So clearly it shows the government's thirst towards improving relations and cementing ties with our neighbors. An important neighbor like China surely figures high on the priority list of the foreign policy of the new establishment in India. So this is being seen in this respect. And also remember, Prime Minister Narendra Modi has excellent rapport with the Chinese leadership. If you remember, Li Keqiang, the Premier of China, was the first foreign leader to call Mr. Narendra Modi after he took over office. And they had about a 40-minute telephonic conversation. So clearly the thrust is to improve the bilateral relationship on issues of development and trade, and see how we can move forward on vexed issues like, for example, the boundary dispute or even water building of dams.
I believe lots happened there. Well, improving ties with neighbors was the emphasis of the presidential address in the parliament today. Hopefully good times for the Indo-China relations. Well, continuing with the top story, our focus, that's the presidential address. While addressing a joint sitting of the parliament in the central hall, President Pranab Mukherjee laid out roadmap of the new Narendra Modi-led government. Pranab Mukherjee emphasized that his government is committed to the cause of rural India. He said that the government will work towards ending rural-urban divide and reversing trends of hopelessness among farmers that led to suicide.
Addressing the joint session of the 16th Lok Sabha on Monday, President Pranab Mukherjee emphasized on ending the rural-urban divide, guided by the idea of Rurban, which suggests providing urban amenities to rural areas while preserving the ethos of the villages. He also added that the new government would work to empower Panchayati Raj institutions.
Despite more than two-thirds of our people living in rural areas, we have not been able to provide adequate public amenities and livelihood opportunities to them. My government is committed to improving the quality of life in our villages through empowered Panchayati Raj institutions.
Stressing on the fact that 50% of the country's population would soon reside in urban areas, President said government would build 100 cities equipped with world-class amenities. He added by the time the nation completes 75 years of independence, every family would have a pakka house with water, toilet and electricity facilities.
My government is conscious of the fact that our urban infrastructure is under severe stress. Soon, 50% of our population would be residing in urban areas. Taking urbanization as an opportunity rather than a challenge, the government will build 100 cities focused on specialized domestic and specialized domains and equipped with world-class amenities.
In his address, President stressed on developing cities and villages, with laying emphasis on cleanliness, sanitation and providing basic amenities to the people. Bureau Report, DD News.
Well, time for a short break. More after this break.
अरे हरकू वाह, बीज, कीटनाशक और आज खाद भी। अरे इतना खर्चा कहाँ से?
एक खर्च की चिंता किसे है? मेरे पास है ये किसान क्रेडिट कार्ड।
कार्ड?
बैंकों द्वारा जारी इस कार्ड से किसान उसकी सीमा तक की रकम कभी भी बैंक से निकलवा सकता है और खेती बाड़ी की सामग्री कभी भी खरीद सकता है।
तो हरकू भैया एक कार्ड मेरे लिए भी।
किसान क्रेडिट कार्ड के लिए नजदीकी बैंक से संपर्क करें और पाएं ढेर सारे लाभ।
पहले यहाँ कोई काम नहीं मिलता था। महात्मा गांधी नरेगा ने यहाँ काम शुरू करवाया। महात्मा गांधी नरेगा ने हमारे परिवार को हर साल 100 दिन रोजगार की गारंटी दी है। महात्मा गांधी नरेगा में काम करने के बाद 15 दिन में मजदूरी मिल जाती है। अब मजदूरी के लिए शहर नहीं जाना पड़ता, गांव में ही काम करते हैं, बच्चों के साथ रहते हैं घर में।
महात्मा गांधी नरेगा साल 2012-13 में करीब 5 करोड़ परिवारों को रोजगार दिया गया।
समय पे काम, हाथों हाथ दाम।
Welcome back. Well, continuing with the presidential address, President Pranab Mukherjee said that the government will work for digitization of its records, establish Wi-Fi zones in critical public areas and use social media as a tool for participatory governance. The use of social media by the new government, including Prime Minister Narendra Modi, has been evident since his election campaigning days. The President's speech also focused on federalism, saying that states and the centres should actually function as an organic team India.
President Pranab Mukherjee on Monday addressed the joint session of the 16th Lok Sabha. In his address, President Mukherjee stressed on the need for active engagement of states with the centre. The President said that the government will reinvigorate the National Development Council and the Interstate Council for the rapid progress of states.
The states and the centre should function as an organic team India. In order to actively engage with the states on national issues, my government will reinvigorate fora like National Development Council and the Interstate Council.
The President also said that the government will lay special emphasis on improving the intra-region connectivity and border infrastructure in Jammu and Kashmir and in the northeast regions. He also added that the government was committed to addressing development issues in Telangana and residual Andhra Pradesh.
The government will lay special emphasis on improving the intra-region connectivity and border infrastructure in the northeast as well as Jammu and Kashmir.
Stressing on the efficiency of e-governance, President Mukherjee said that e-governance has the power to transform lives in a high-tech way. President also added that the government will roll out broadband highways, make Wi-Fi zones in public areas to reach smaller places and to provide a wide variety of services to citizens in a digitized manner.
The backbone of my government, new ways of working, will be a digital India. Information technology will be used to drive e-engineering of government processes, to improve service delivery and program implementation.
In his address, the President also asked the government to fully realize the country's potential and revive Brand India. Bureau Report, DD News.
So reviving Brand India is the focus of the government. Meanwhile, Railway Minister Sidhant, reacting to President's address, said that the government is committed to high-speed rail connectivity in the country. Remember, connectivity was the key focus of the presidential address. The President said that his government will launch a diamond quadrilateral project of high-speed trains.
Is part and parcel of the development agenda. So connectivity and other things are one of the important factors that need to be considered by new government, and in that direction the President has said certainly we are at it. Both directions of a new government has been clearly forecasted by the President.
Well, news from the stock markets. It was a bumper start for the markets. Market closed at another record high. Sensex gained 184 points to end at 25,580 levels, while NSE Nifty ended 71 points up to end at 7,655 levels. This is the first time that Nifty has closed above the crucial 7,600 levels. The BSE Mid Cap Index was up almost 1.5%. The BSE Small Cap Index was up more than 2%. Indian stocks gained for the third day in a row today. The market sentiment was boosted by the data showing that foreign funds made heavy purchases of Indian stocks on Friday. Coal India jumped after President Pranab Mukherjee said that the government will formulate clear rules for allocation of coal, minerals and telecoms spectrum. The stock was up 4.86% at 410 rupees. The gainers on the chart were Bajaj Auto, Coal India, L&T, Tata Power and Tata Steel, which were up by between 6 to 2%. Losers on the chart were ONGC, Hindustan Unilever, SBI, Axis Bank and Infosys, which are down by between 3 to 1%. The market breadth indicating the overall health of the market was strong. Well, on to global market action. European stocks advanced on Monday amidst optimism that global economic recovery remains on track. Key benchmark indices in UK and Germany were up by between 0.08% to 0.57%. France's CAC 40 fell 0.01%. Asian stocks rose on Monday after US payrolls, Chinese trade and Japanese economic growth data beat estimates. Key benchmark indices in Taiwan, Japan, Singapore, Hong Kong and China were up by between 0.1% to 0.73%. Key benchmark indices in Indonesia and South Korea were up by between 0.27% to 1.05%. Well, Finance Minister Arun Jaitley today met his state counterparts as a part of pre-budget consultations and discussed progress towards the proposed goods and services tax. After the meeting, Finance Minister said that the government is committed to breaking vicious cycle of high inflation and high interest rates. Jaitley also said that economic growth cannot be compromised at any cost. Jaitley is scheduled to present the union budget early next month. The indirect tax reform, that's the GST, could not be passed during the Congress-led UPA regime for want of consensus on different issues. Well, tracking the monsoon, Science Minister Jitendra Singh today said that monsoon rainfall is likely to be below normal at 93%. But no respite for Delhiites from the heat, according to the Met Department. Rainfall, well, that's monsoon, will hit the capital around June 29th and 30th. Meanwhile, the southwest monsoon, which hit Kerala shows 3 days ago, has further advanced, covering the entire state today. Heavy rainfall exceeding 7 centimeters has been predicted in isolated places in Kerala and Lakshadweep till June the 12th. Well, on to other stories of the day. Well, meeting for the first time after formation of the new government, the FIPB will take up 32 foreign direct investment proposals from the likes of Pfizer, BNP Paribas and Bulgari International Corporation on June the 11th. Of the 32 investment proposals before the 206th meeting of the FIPB, 8 relate to pharmaceutical sectors. Well, Facebook Chief Operating Officer Shelly Sandberg is scheduled to make her maiden trip to India as the social networking giant deepens ties with its second largest market. Sandberg, who will be in India in the last week of June, is scheduled to meet small and medium enterprises in Hyderabad, followed by a media media press conference in the national capital next month. Well, in a huge bonanza for customers, Reliance Communication today announced the launch of One India, One Rate plan, which offers free incoming national roaming offers for postpaid and prepaid GSM customers. This is the first time an operator has introduced free roaming packs across all circles and even on calls received from other networks. Well, as Delhi braced frequent power cuts, Lieutenant Governor Najib Jung on Sunday directed power departments to cut power supplies to malls after 10 p.m. As per the new orders from the Lieutenant Governor, government establishments including Delhi Secretariat, government offices, universities and colleges have to keep their air conditioners switched off between 3:30 p.m. to 4:30 p.m. to conserve power. Well, some international business story. Japan has revised up its growth figures for the January to March period due to stronger growth in business investment. The Cabinet Office said that the economy grew 1.6% during the period, up from the initial estimate of 1.5%. That translates into an annualized growth rate of 6.7%, up from the initial figure of 5.9%. Well, China's exports grew in May, but a drop in imports signaled a possible weakening of demand in the world's second largest economy. The country's exports rose by 7% in May compared with the 12-month period before it, but imports fell by 1.6% on a year earlier. Well, Bulgaria is to halt work on its Russian-backed South Stream gas pipeline following criticism from the EU and the US. The Gazprom financed pipeline would ship gas to Western Europe via the Balkans, thus avoiding Ukraine. The European Commission had sent Bulgarian authorities a letter at the start of the month asking them to suspend work on the project. Well, finally, a US-based startup has created a chip that will allow your smartphone to project 3D holograms into thin air. The company called Ostendo in California has created the hologram projector clip, which is small enough for smartphones. Well, that's all in this edition, but before we go, a recap of the main business headlines. President Pranab Mukherjee spells out Modi government's roadmap for India in his address to the joint session of the Parliament. Economic revival, infrastructure development, addressing security challenges topmost on government's agenda. Government to work for equitable and holistic development of all sections of the economy and society, focus on employment generation and skill development. Government will revive Brand India, will focus on 5 T's, tradition, talent, tourism, trade and technology, committed to tackle corruption and black money. And markets zoom on the first day of the week. Sensex gains 184 points to end at 25,580. Nifty ends above 7,600 levels for the first time ever. Well, that's all in this edition of Business Wrap. Thanks for watching. Namaskar.
बिजनेस रैप वॉज ब्रॉट टू यू बाय श्री अल्ट्रा रेड ऑक्साइड, भारत का एकमात्र जंग रोधक सीमेंट।